everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is Rochelle. I read a variety of books and I also have a disability. I know I had y'all go and vote for what type of video you wanted to see on my channel, and doing a reading slump vlog unfortunately didn't win, but I still wanted to go and make this video, and so I'm doing a little intro before we get into everything. Back in November, I was in a readathon, and I definitely did a lot of reading during that time, and I kind of burnt myself out and didn't really feel the need to read, and that also added on to the holidays and everything. I wanted to go and put more energy into other hobbies that I enjoy, and so I did a lot more gaming and things like that. But now we're a few weeks into January and I've done a little bit of reading here and there. I've read a few audiobooks, I finished up an arc, and I'm still in the trenches of that huge reading slump I was dealing with. And that's fine and dandy and all, but I've been really wanting to do a lot more reading and it's been really hard. Also added to the fact that there's a lot going on in our country right now, and it just feels so hard to get lost in really read a good book right now. But I really do want to get back into reading and not just mindlessly game, although mindlessly gaming is a lot of fun. So we're gonna do a little bit of a reading vlog. I don't think I'm really gonna do a 24-hour reading challenge. This is just gonna be a fun little maybe weekend challenge or however long I want to do it, and see how many books I can go and read. I'm hoping that by going and focusing a little bit more in reading and sitting down with a book, that might get the flow back and get me excited to pick up books again. So we're gonna do that, but also I just want to add that we do have a Discord channel now, and I'll go and not only include it in the description, but I'll also pin it in the comments below. This is something that I'm very new at. I'm still trying to figure out a lot of the things with Discord servers and stuff like that, so it's a baby server. But I wanted to go and offer a safe space that people can go and join. We can go and share photos of animals, little serotonin posts where there was something that made you smile that day and you want to share it with people, go and share it. And if you are reading a book that you want to go and talk about with others, or a game or whatnot, you can go and do it there. Yeah, this was a little bit of a chatty intro to what this video will be. So let's get into the book part. I'm going to be reading I, Medusa by Ayana Gray. This is one that I have on my Defend the TBR list for January, and I've been really wanting to read this book. I love Medusa so much, and I know that there's going to be a lot of trigger warnings in this book because it's Medusa's story, and this will definitely trigger me. I'm more than likely will go and cry, but I think at the same time this will elicit a lot of emotions that will help me continue having that desire to read and pick up a book. So yeah, with that being said, we're gonna start this one. I already started a little bit of it the other night, so I'm on page 30, and so far so good. Right now we're kind of seeing a little bit of Medusa's childhood and her experience not only with her parents but her sisters, and they were getting ready for this party where the mom's kind of getting them ready to go and marry off and find husbands so that they can leave this island. And Medusa's excited to leave the island, but not really excited about the fact that she has to find a husband. So we'll see how things go there. She also has met Poseidon and Poseidon's wife here, and she snuck away just to go and get like some air and things like that after talking to Poseidon's wife. And then while she had snuck away, one of her friends found her, and then they kind of stumbled upon Poseidon with another woman that was not his wife. So that's where things got left off there, and I'm intrigued to see what exactly transpires. So let's go and do some reading and see what happens. I also have my reading companion here, Nugget. And I'm kind of in her spot because usually she's right here. Huh. Yeah. your brother doing? Huh? What's he doing? Hi. Yes, hello. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make the bed. Huh? What are you doing? Yeah. And this is why I close the door, so that I can make the bed after the sheets are washed. Huh. Can you get boop? Boop. Thank you. Y'all are so cute. I love you. Hi everyone, so it is quite a few days later. I just have still been in the trenches of that reading slump I was mentioning. Part of the reason why I've kind of been putting off reading I, Medusa is because... Hi Nux! Also, it's Nuggy's birthday! She's 3 years old. Happy birthday, Nugs. So I'm at part 2 in I, Medusa, and it's labeled The Maiden. And if anyone knows the lore with Medusa, you will understand why I've kind of been hesitant to continue reading. So I've been kind of delaying things with that book, and I haven't really been reading as much of it. I've also been watching a lot of ASMR videos just because it's so relaxing, especially to quiet my brain down with all the doom scrolling. And then I've been playing a lot of Genshin as well. So I think just to get in the flow of things before I go and try to read this book more, I'm going to finish up my audiobook, which is My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. I'm at 83% of it, and I have an hour and 30 minutes left. So since it's around 8:26 in the morning right now, I'm thinking I'm gonna listen to my audiobook, play some Genshin, and also have my breakfast smoothie. And then after I finish that, then I'll go and sit down and try to see if I can finish I, Medusa today. It is currently snowing. Yeah, it's still snowing. I had to hold my breath in check because we haven't been getting a lot in Colorado, but I know the ice storm is going to be hitting in the next few days for people from Texas to Virginia, so hopefully everyone that was affected is safe. This is probably going to be posted after the storm hit and everything, so hopefully y'all were nice and safe and warm and nice and prepared for this storm. I don't know if Colorado's going to be getting any of it because we're kind of on the outskirts of the map that I've seen, so if anything we might be getting like the outside parts of the storm. But yeah, that is the game plan for today. I'm going to finish my audiobook, do some gaming, finish my breakfast smoothie, and then after that switch over to I, Medusa and maybe finish that book. I still have quite a few books on my Defend the TBR list that I need to read, so that is also the game plan as well. And then once Charles gets home from work, we're gonna give Nuggy's birthday treats and her toy to her. So yeah, very excited for that. I can't believe my baby girl's gonna be 3. She needs to stop growing. Nuggy. Hi, baby. Hi, baby girl. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Nug Nug. She's like, I don't know what's going on. I don't understand. But yeah, so I'm gonna do some of that and I'll talk to you in a bit. I got Columbina! It took a while because I didn't have my pity, but I got her! I'm so excited! Now I have to decide if I want to try to pull for Inefa. I think I have let's see how many. I have 48 wishes left. I had over 100 because I had saved up stuff, so I don't know if I should try to pull for her. I don't think I want any of the characters in the next banner. I'm so not sure. I'm not sure. And I know like people usually will go and pull for the characters more times so that they can potentially get more of their banners and everything, so that they can get higher constellations. But since I'm getting back into it, I kind of want to have a lot of the other characters so I can figure out which ones I actually like before deciding like, okay, I'm gonna get more of the constellations for them. I'm not a hardcore Genshin player. I want all the pretty characters, I guess. So I might do that. I haven't spent. The only thing I've spent on is basically just getting the daily primogens for 30 days, and that's the only thing that I've been spending on. So I've been very, very, very good, because the reason I hopped off of this game for the longest time was because I had a spending problem. So I haven't been spending, and I'm very proud of myself, but yeah. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. All right, so I have finished up with my quest in Genshin, and I've also finished My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney, and I think I'm gonna rate it around 4.25 stars. It was really, really, really good. With Alice Feeney's books, they definitely do have like a really fun twist at the end of the book. So while you're listening to it, at least with me, with any mystery thriller, I usually try to go and solve things and figure things out. And sometimes, depending on the author, I am spot on and I can go and narrow things down right away. But with Alice Feeney, I feel like she makes you think that you know and you have it all figured out. But then right at the end, I'd say with less than an hour left, she throws this complete twist, and then you are just enraptured by the story and trying to figure out what exactly happened and how everything lines up. I really like too how, at least with this book, everything was tied together with a bow at the end. There was no loose threads remaining. Everything was resolved. So that is definitely something that I appreciate. I don't like when things kind of are left off and you're like, what, wait, what about this? Or what about this? So I really appreciate that with her books. But yeah, so I am done listening to that book. I think right now, let's see, how many books have I finished this month? I have finished 5 books in the month of January so far. Most of those books were audiobooks, which is still great, still counts and everything. But I'd really like to actually finish a physical book, which makes us change over to reading I, Medusa. So since I'm done with Genshin for now, I still have a lot of quests that I'd like to catch up on, and unfortunately I just didn't have enough wishes to use to try to get a Nepha, and like I said, I don't want to spend. So I do have some ways with the battle pass as well as stories and quests and stuff like that that can help me hopefully get enough wishes to get a Nepha. So I'll probably do that later tonight because Charles has D&D, and so I'm gonna need to do some busy work. I can't do recording or anything like that while Charles is doing D&D because his voice is very loud. And my office would need to be better soundproofed. His office would need to be better soundproofed. And because we have 4 animals that like going back and forth between our offices, it just doesn't make sense to go and lock them up or anything. But my stomach is gurgling, so I think I'm gonna eat some lunch and then pick up I, Medusa and probably do reading up until Charles gets home. I did consider doing some ASMR filming with Silky Gem stuff or other things, but honestly, I just kind of want today to be really chill and relaxed. I'll probably do that a different day. I feel like January has really been a lot of self-care and focus on self-care for me, because just with everything going on right now, I've just had a lot of really low lows. So I want to keep things moving, keep my energy more upbeat, and find little pieces of joy that I can. And I just feel like going and pushing myself to do work is just not the right idea. So I'm gonna eat and then do some more reading. So I'll talk to you in a bit. Okay, so I might be getting to the part that I've been dreading. For anyone that's read this book, I'm at page 166, and just the way they prefaced the chapter, it leads me into thinking that this is going to be when things happen. So, oh, I'm nervous. I'm not excited. I don't know, depending on how it goes and how the imagery is in my brain for it, I might have to stop reading. So we'll see. My goal was to finish this book, but we're gonna go completely along with mental health and spoons, and depending on how it goes, I might have to step away for a bit and do something else. So we'll see. But, okay, let's do this. Okay, so what I thought would happen thankfully didn't, but something else did. But now I'm on part 3 of the book, and it's titled Mistress. And I'm nervous because so far what has happened in this book, Medusa, the story started out with Medusa living with her sisters and her parents on their island, and then Athena basically gave her the opportunity to become an acolyte, and eventually, if she passes all the tests, become a priestess at her temple. And so Medusa is doing this, and she has one friend that she's been able to make, and they've both been kind of cheering each other on and helping each other throughout these tests. Well, there was this event, and they ended up going and sticking around and drinking this wine or some fermented drink that these local boys gave them, and Medusa had to leave to go to relieve herself, and her friend offered to go with her, and Medusa instead is like, no, I can go on my own. And I mean, this is one of the lessons that girls are always taught, especially if there's alcohol brought into the mix. It's like, you don't go to the restroom alone, you go with other people, and you also don't really leave your friends behind with strangers when alcohol is also in the mix. So needless to say, I was a little bit worried and concerned that the part I've been dreading was coming up, and like I said, stuff went a little bit differently, but it seems like Medusa left her friend behind, and so I'm a little bit nervous to see what happens going in. And honestly, what a lot of these pages have kind of given a sneak peek into is that Medusa is still a child in a lot of ways. Like, she is very naive and doesn't have a full concept and understanding of how things work, because like for one part of it, she grew up on this island, so she was away from a lot of the culture of all these people and the way that things are done, and she was just left with her parents, who are gods, and her sisters, who are mortals, and so she was only able to learn what she was able to find from shipwrecks and scrolls that way. So she doesn't have a full understanding of a lot of things, and so I love Medusa and everything, but oof, it's really, really hard to go and read this and just like shake your head at some of the decisions that she's doing, because she is naive. She doesn't have a full understanding of the world and how it works. That I'll just leave it there. So yeah, it's almost 2 right now, so I'm gonna keep reading, but I need to keep an eye on outside, and luckily where my office is, I have a good view of that, because depending on how the snow is, I might need to go and shovel before Charles gets home. But right now I'm thinking it's not too bad, and it might be worse if I shovel it now. So we'll see. I'm keeping an eye on it. So I still haven't gotten to a certain point, but instead there's a different piece that has happened here, and for anyone that wants to read this book and doesn't want spoilers, I will put like a little emote of some sort up here. And then when I'm done talking about these pieces, I will remove that emote so that you can avoid spoilers and everything like that. Oh, this is incredibly frustrating. So I was kind of mentioning earlier about how Medusa's very naive. So she is at the age of 17, and she is now talking to Athena after Apollonia was banned as being able to become a priestess and being kicked out of the process of being an acolyte, because when Medusa went and left her last night at this event that happened, she had like this nagging feeling in the back of her head. And this is the second time that Medusa has just completely forgotten about things, and of important things that should not be forgotten about. One of which being that she left her friend Apollonia in the city with these shepherd boys while she went to the bathroom, and then ended up going and walking with Poseidon back to the temple. And the next morning she realizes Apollonia isn't there, and then sees Apollonia, after Medusa goes and throws up in the gardens, she sees Apollonia there, and she is in not the best shape. She's in clothes that are torn ragged and is just broken in more ways than one. And so Medusa's going and helping clean her and all this other stuff, and Apollonia is kind of hinting at what happened, but also doesn't want to talk about it, which is very common in those situations. And so while Medusa's trying to go and like help clean her and take care of her friend, Medusa doesn't have an understanding of what has happened. She thinks that the soldiers went and roughed up Apollonia, and she's not understanding the hinted pieces. And while this is going on, then suddenly like the mean girl acolyte that's also there, which I strongly dislike mean girls. What is her name? Callista, I think? Callisto. So Callisto is apparently overhearing everything, and because of some actions that Medusa did, Callisto's holding it against her, and also going and hurting Apollonia for siding with Medusa and choosing her as a friend. So this is basically brought up to the high priestess and everything, and Apollonia's cast out and banned from being a priestess. And Medusa is incredibly frustrated about this, and Callisto was kind of being a snide brat, and Medusa went and attacked her, which honestly, completely fair, completely justified. I would have probably wanted to do the same exact thing, because I'm not a fan of Callisto in this. But now the priestess went and brought Medusa away, and Medusa's thinking like, okay, I'm gonna get kicked out. I'm not gonna be able to become a priestess either. Well, when she gets to the location, Athena's there. And so now she's having this talk with Athena, and Athena's revealing that she was the one that decided that Apollonia was no longer allowed to be a priestess and kicked her out of the program. Now it's basically to the point where Athena's realizing Medusa doesn't know anything about sex, doesn't know anything about SA, none of that stuff. And so Athena's having to go and basically explain all of this stuff, the birds and the bees, all that stuff to Medusa, which I'm like, oh my god. But the part that's incredibly infuriating, aside from how naive Medusa is, especially considering she's 17 and knows nothing of a lot of these pieces. So Medusa's like, I have another question. And she's like, Apollonia didn't go and do this willingly. And she's like, isn't that wrong? And Athena's like, yes, it's wrong. But at the same time, like, her priestesses, especially depending on what stage of their life cycle they're in, they have to uphold certain pieces. And since Apollonia is unwed, she had to maintain her chastity. Basically, the reason why Apollonia was kicked out was because she admitted she was found alone and drunk when the soldiers found her. She was all but asking for something to happen to her. She put herself in a compromising position. Does that make sense? Incredibly infuriating and frustrating, because no matter what, someone is never asking for it, depending on if they've had a few drinks, depending on their clothes, their appearance. They're not asking for it. Consent is so important. And oh, I could go into so many tangents on this, but yeah, I'm incredibly frustrated. Okay, I'm only at page 188, but I needed to express my frustration with that. And of course it's not at the author, because like the author's telling this version of this story of Athena and Medusa and whatnot. It's just this general thought in society where it's like she was asking for it. I hate that. I hate that so much. So yeah. All right, I'm gonna take the emote down and I'm gonna continue on reading. It is 2:17 right now. I feel like honestly I'm just reading so slow, and I don't know if that's just because there's a lot of hesitation with this book, because it does have some very triggering topics. I don't know, maybe it could also be the reading slump, we'll see. But I'm gonna try to power through, maybe at least get to page 200, and then maybe I'll have to give my brain a break. Not sure, but I'll check in with you in a bit. Alright, so I am back. I went and shoveled outside, and honestly my fingers were so cold. I definitely need to replace my gloves, or at least that one pair of gloves that I was using, because they did nothing. And I was a little bit worried at first because my hands were not warming up and they were in pain. It is freezing outside right now, but our driveway shoveled, and then the sidewalk in front of our house is good. So yeah, I'm getting back to my book. I'm on page 244, and I feel like I have been the little boy that's cried wolf so many times, because I'm like, this is going to be the part where it happens. This is going to be the part that happens. But now I think it's going to be the part. I guess they were saving it for the last chunk of the book, which sucks because like I've been reading and just dreading this moment every single page basically, because I'm like, is it going to happen now? Is it going to happen now? So maybe because I've had all that build up, it won't be as bad. So we'll see. So it wasn't the way I thought it would be in this scene. I think I'm gonna keep reading and then later share my thoughts with y'all. Yeah, I have thoughts and I'm processing them. So I'll share them with you after I finish the book.
Nugget, what's that?
All right. Ready? What? Shush! This is my baby. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nugget. Happy birthday to you.
Yay! Feel judged.
You are.
You're mean. All right. Ready, Nugs? Okay, first of all, I know you're still recording.
Mm-hmm.
This smells delicious and I want to eat it. But I know it has like dog protein and probably nasty. I ain't eating it.
Okay.
Ready? Nom, nom. Nom, nom. Oh. Is it yummy? Oh, that's yummy. Take a bite. I'm not giving you the whole damn thing. Darn thing, sorry.
She needs baby bites.
Yeah. Maggie.
Because you spoiled her. Oh.
Wait, I spoiled her?
Yes.
Sit. Nice catch. Nice catch. Hi, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Nuggy Nugs.
All right. So it is the next day, and I have finally finished I, Medusa by Ayana Gray, and I have thoughts. So this book was good, however, it also was disappointing for me. And it's still hard for me to fully process and put together all of my thoughts with this book. I had to go and read some reviews after because I was like, I need to know if anyone else is feeling the same feelings about this book that I am. And one of the things that I noticed was that this apparently is Ayana Gray's debut adult novel. And I'm still trying to figure out like the different terms and stuff like that, because there were some people that said that this felt more like new adult, and I guess I'm not really familiar with that term and what all it entails. But this book kind of felt like an older YA book, and I think that might be the piece that bothers me, because anyone familiar with Medusa's story and the lore behind her might understand why this fell a little bit flat for me. So with the story, we're kind of following Medusa's story. We're starting in different chunks of the book. One where it kind of covers her as a young woman, and then an acolyte working to become a priestess for Athena, then becoming a maiden, and then lastly becoming the monster that we know her to be today. And it does focus a lot on her young childhood and the experiences that the author kind of imagined her having on the island that she grew up in, and really cultivated the relationship with her sisters. And with a lot of the mythology, we kind of see Medusa usually as a solitary figure and not really have that stress and that importance on her sisters. So that part was really cool. I also really love the piece with Medusa's locks, because in the book, Medusa, for this version, she's a black woman, and the locks kind of hold a lot of culture and importance. And I love that piece and that imagery, because later in the book, Athena turns those locks into snakes. So that different change of her hair and the meaning behind it, I thought that was beautiful. That part was so great and amazing. But just how some pieces were kind of handled, and Medusa just seemed so naive, and there was a desire in her to go and protect others and take care of them, but at the same time, it wasn't consistent. There were moments that, yes, she wanted to stand up for others, but then someone that was very close to her, something impactful and devastating happened to her, and it kind of was Medusa's fault. And that rage that I would have loved to see just wasn't really there in the amount that I had hoped. And then the moment with Poseidon, there was a different portrayal of it, which was fine. And I think the way it was portrayed didn't really get my triggers and affect me in the way that I was so nervous would happen with reading this book, and was partially the reason why I put it off. But the piece with Medusa being so naive really affected that scene, and then the stuff that took place after it. And I had higher expectations for this book, and I think that's why I'm being so strict in my feelings towards it, because Medusa's story is something that I really hold close to my heart and is something very important to me, and it fell flat, and I think it has a lot to do with how naive Medusa was. There was female rage present in this book, but just not to the amount that I wanted, and the female rage felt more like it was at the end of the book, and it was more rushed and like, oh, okay. It more so focused on her growing into an adult, and then once you get to that really pivotal moment with Poseidon, it's already in the later half of the book, or not even the later half, like the later quarter of the book. So yeah, there were pieces that were really well done for this book, but I wouldn't say that this was like an adult book. It really felt like an older YA book. I do still say, like, when you're going into this book, definitely check your trigger warnings, check your mental health and everything, because there are triggers in there, and some of the language used and some of the descriptions used and the language used towards victims is really hard to read and incredibly frustrating, which I knew it would be. But yeah, I just wanted to see less of that naive piece with Medusa. That was something that I wasn't expecting. And I mean, the way it was written, it made sense for this retelling, but it just wasn't what I was looking for and what I was excited for when I picked up this book. So yeah, I'm still gonna have to process my thoughts fully on it, but unfortunately this was not the 5-star that I had hoped and expected this book to be. So yeah, I'm curious if anyone has read this, what their thoughts are. I kind of went back and forth if I wanted to really dive in deep and do like some extra spoilery conversations and then putting up emotes to say like, hey, avoid this part. But I don't know. So if you read this and you want to talk to me about it, you can definitely hop into my Discord and we can talk about it there. But yeah, I think just I'm gonna still need to process it. But yeah, this wasn't what I had hoped it would be. Oh, I will say too, there was one part that I did really like that was a redeeming factor for me. So there's a part after everything happens with Poseidon and Medusa is going and talking to her sisters and actually telling them what happened. And her sisters are like, tell us the truth. We won't judge you. We won't hold it against you. We just want to hear the words from you. And so Medusa's kind of explaining like her confusion and what exactly happened and how at first she was okay with it, but then she realized like, no, I don't want to go through with this. And her sister said, it doesn't matter what you might have wanted to at first, she says. You can change your mind at any time. And I mean, that is a very impactful sentence. That is probably like one of my favorite sentences because like as you can see, I don't annotate my books, but I kind of bookmarked this for later. Consent can be given and taken away at any time. So I'm glad that there was kind of a page that was going and talking about that, because that is something that is so important. It doesn't matter what clothes they were wearing, if they were consuming a drink and or a drug or anything like that, they could have given consent at one point and then taken away. And I think if anything, that's a great message to take away from this book. So yeah, I'll leave it there and I'll try to figure out what other book I want to read. This sadly didn't help me with that reading slump I've been dealing with. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if the next book does. But I'll talk to you once I figure that out.